Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hello, beaming in from outer space. It's me, Lady Ada, the engineer, and with me is Mr. Lady Ada. We are on the Starship USS Adafruit. That's where we are right now. This is our factory spaceship where we make a ship, design, and do all the electronics that we ship around the known galaxy.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yeah, it's really far to other galaxies.
Yes.
Like really far.
Yes, tracking, it will take a while for the package to get there,
Yeah.
especially if you're like multi-parsecs away. But
Yeah,
that's fine. All right, so we got an exciting show tonight.
we do.
We even have a thematic show.
Yeah, it's a Star Trek anniversary. We'll talk about that later. But want to do this?
Yeah, of course.
All right, engage.
Engage. Make it so.
Encourage.
Number 2.
Okay, so on tonight's show, the code of Star Trek. It's Star Trek week here at Adafruit. That's 50th anniversary and more. We'll talk about that. Show and tell. Lady Ada will go over the people that were showing and sharing their cool projects and more. We had a bunch. It was a full house on show and tell. Mailbag's going to stop by with a special letter. Boy, did we get a letter. Help wanted. Adafruit Jobs are the best place online to post your skills, and also if you're a company, post that you have a job opening to get said maker with said skills. Time travel, look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, and probably Star Trek this week. Have a little bit of Made in New York. We have some manufacturing videos, 3D printing videos. We're going to answer your questions, a trivia question, all that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Boldly going where no engineer has gone before.
Yeah, so let's pay some bills real quick.
Okay.
As many of the community fans and audience saw, we had a Maker to Market video show that we did, and this one was called Funding. We did this on Saturday.
Yes.
And we'll get to that in a bit. But one of the things that we did is we went through all the different companies that had funding, all the ones that took loans or whatever, and in our industry, or a lot. And one of the things that's different about us is we decided, well, let's see if we can stay independent, not do things like that. And how could we do that? Well, it's not free. It means people should pick up a kit, some electronics. And because of that, we want to say thank you and give you a 10% off code. And that's Star Trek. It's all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern time tonight. And that gets you 10% off on our store, except for gift certificates and software. And it's our way of saying
lithium
thanks.
crystals, yeah.
Well, yeah. It's our way of saying thanks for tuning in, and also we've been able to not have to do the funding or the loan thing.
Yes.
And stay independent.
This is all brought to you by you.
Yeah. And it allows us to do programming like this.
It means that we don't have to think like, what is the ROI on Circuit Playground, the animated, our children's show? Like, we don't have to think about that. We just do something
because we
cool.
can ask, like, why do we do certain things? Why don't we do other things? So this is why we do Ask an Engineer, because you all seem to enjoy it and support it with electronic kits. Okay, first up, if you're in New York City before 11 a.m. and your zip code is one of the ones that we do same day, we have same day there. Mm-hmm. And of course, a little programming note, this is Ask an Engineer, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and Show and Tell, which we just did, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. We do have the free UPS ground shipping for $200 or more in the U.S.
Continental?
Yeah, and
sorry, Hawaii.
Yeah, and the code still works in addition to the free shipping that we have. Okay, Lady Ada, Show and Tell. What was on the Show and Tell?
Yes.
Who was on the Show and Tell?
Let me tell you about Show and Tell, because we had a lot of people. It went over a little bit. Noah and Pedro showed off this week's 3D Thursday project, which is a careful reminder of the limited time we have on Earth clock. It's a death clock. It's just a common project that engineers make where it counts down using 2 7-segment displays how many minutes approximately you have. So you'll feel really guilty when you're wasting time on silly websites. You'll be like, oh my God, the timer is going down. I'm running out of life. Morgan came by with a really cool project. She took 2 circuit playgrounds and put them into a 3D printed yo-yo. And it's like the yo-yo has LEDs and it can do sensing stuff. So it's a great circuit playground project, a really good idea. I wouldn't have thought of it when I designed Circuit Playground. But in hindsight, it's the perfect size and shape to make into a yo-yo. Carter made a Raspberry Pi camera and one of those like really big, chunky waterproof cases. You know, like when you were a kid and your parents like took you to a resort and like you went like scuba diving or like snorkeling and you had an underwater camera. That case. That's like what I remember these cases from.
You had parents and you went to a resort?
I never went. No, I never went to a resort. But I saw advertisements.
Oh.
I imagine. I was never at a resort.
Yeah. I never had parents.
I know.
Or you go to a resort. But I actually, on the show and tell, I mentioned this. So I really like the clear electronic aesthetic.
Yeah.
And the clear cases for that goes on around cameras.
Yeah, they're just bulby
perfect.
and chunky.
If you ever want to do a Raspberry Pi project,
that's a great case.
That's a camera thing. Go to a thrift store and you'll see a lot of these clear cases.
Millions of these were made.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's for some large SDR. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, maybe they still make these cases for underwater camera, but it's not. It's not as
they're not as gigantic as they are.
I just don't imagine people do that much. I mean, I guess they just make them phone cases now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Risky.
You'd be surprised.
Risky. Okay, so it's got time lapse capability. It runs a web server. It's like original A+ Raspberry Pi, I think it was, and has the Pi camera. Lovely. Scott from Chickadee Tech with the stacking STM M4 processors with like all the capabilities to do drone racing and other detailed sensing applications, has launched. Chickadee Tech is up and running. You can go buy boards from him. He said it was a good, smooth launch. No weird things happened. And he showed off his test jig, which uses a Freedom board and then a Windows computer running Python to send commands. Very similar to actually the way we do stuff, where sometimes we have Python for more advanced testing, and then low-level like analog digital conversions, of course, is done on the hardware. So we made these like plug-in boards, and you can press the go button and it will tell you that it passes test. And then it uploads to like a Google data service, so we can see, you can log and see how the testing is going, which is something we've never done, but I know other people have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Lon K is doing work on his blaster. He put an accelerometer in it, so like as he moves the laser blaster, toy blaster cosplay thing, it'll change color and mode. And he's been doing 4 streams a week, showing off the code for that project. And then Aiden has been making very interesting thin soft robotic actuators by using mold release to sort of like slightly melt away parts of. It's like you'll mold you put a little silicone in, cure it, and then spray mold release on a stenciled part, and then pour more silicone on top, and it'll actually create a very thin opening that can then be used as an actuator.
We'll be showing some soft robotics videos tonight on the show too, and we just had our show. We'll talk about that later. Pseudo-random with Matt Brigatti. It was really good.
We had Charles, who has a really lovely 3D printed tie, and he made a flex sensor hand, and it goes to the servo-controlled hand, so you can like program in motions, and it will be transmitted through the internet or through storage and replay to another hand. Roger M made a really epic PID-controlled tobacco pipe with like it's a water pipe, and it has like NeoPixels in it, and like heating element, and the Raspberry Pi controls, and there's a touch screen.
Cool.
It is like the ultimate. This is like a Pi vaping. It's kind of out of control. There's a lot of technology going on for this thing. It's very intense and very cool looking. And then finally we had C. Scott, who's showing off his soft start power controller that his boss had designed. He redesigned it, the front panel for Comenius, and all the parts getting ready to fulfill his Kickstarter.
Yeah. Okay, all participants on the show and tell get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. All they have to do is email support@adafruit.com and we will send them out a sticker. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on the show and tell. That was a lot of fun. It was a full house. It seems like it's filling up again. So when folks want to show their projects, get to the URL google.com/plus Adafruit, and then look for the link. It's around 7:30.
Click it fast.
Yeah, click it, get in.
Refresh,
and,
click.
Yeah, and then try to keep the project length when you're explaining about 3 minutes, so we can get everybody. We can't do more show and tell because we're doing Adafruit as a job. And we
other people can hold their own show and tells.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
But I think we can continue to get 10 people, because the room max is 10. So if everyone goes 3 minutes, that's pretty good.
Because there's us, and then 9 times 3.
So that's how to do the show and tell. Okay. Next up, it's part of our Adafruit live series, and each week we have more live programming. Desk of Lady Ada, we did a video last week, which was prototyping, where you talked about prototyping the Circuit Playground, and we're doing this in partnership with Maker.io, powered by DigiKey. And then after that, we did funding, and this one was an hour and a half, and it was looking at all of the funding sources, the investors, the companies, some of the people, and all the different ways hardware companies are either surviving or going out of business or going big. And at the end, we played a video that you and I did back in 2010.
I know.
At an event called Food Camp, and it was at Microsoft.
It was an Ignite
in
talk.
Boston. Yeah, it was an Ignite
Now
talk.
they're called like Picha Kucha talks or something. There's like a new
No,
name.
they're still Ignite talks.
Ignite talks, okay.
And so it was 5 minutes, and what we did is we showed the landscape of open source hardware, and that was back when I was senior editor at Make, and I could write about every open source hardware project and every open source hardware company. So basically, there was everybody that was like under $10 million, and really in like the $1 to $5 or $6 million, and we were a tiny company back then. And then there was SparkFun; they were a $10 million company. And I'm not gonna spoil the ending because there is no ending to this story because a lot of the companies are still around and more, but a lot's changed, and you'll be able to see that.
It's a very interesting video to
Yeah.
see. You know, there's some companies that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And there's other companies that do exist that
Yeah.
weren't there at the
One-
time. Quite
Yeah.
large.
And one
This
example,
is like pre-Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
This was like a long time
Yeah,
ago.
one example is Little Bits, open source hardware company. Now they have over 60 million in funding.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about what they need to possibly sell for. And then we talked about MakerBot because they got acquired by Stratasys. And then we also talked about Glowforge, which just yesterday it was announced they got 22 million in funding, bringing them up to 60 million in funding. So it's really interesting in the hardware space, and we're kind of obsessed with it. Some of our friends are venture capitalists, some of them are hardware companies looking for funding. We've decided to stay off any boards or take funding or anything that would not allow us to kind of watch this and just be able to share what's going on in the hardware space in the lifespan of Adafruit.
Mm-hmm.
We had lots of choices. We still have lots of choices. It looks like when you take funding, some doors open and some doors close. So you can't.
Big
do
risk,
so.
big reward.
Yeah. So, anyways, check it out. It's a video. And then next up, we'll be doing a video on Friday night, and this is about marketing. So, how do you market something like Circuit Playground? So we'll be talking about that. Mm-hmm. So, I'll show like our learn guides and more.
It's funny, like the first 5 guides were very like hardware, layout, code, bootloaders, and now it's like we're getting into the more, the kind of interesting, they talk like soft science, how to fund it, how to sell it, how to convince people that this is a good idea.
So we'll talk about marketing. Maybe I'll bring up past things that work. So tonight, we don't have new products tonight, so we're going to have an extended part of question and answers. So right now, think about the questions you want us to answer down the road about marketing your product. So think about if you have a hardware product, how would you want it to be sold, marketed, or if you don't know, we can cover those questions. So these will be some questions that we'll answer here tonight, and then we'll take them to the show that we're doing on Friday night. Anyways, so next up.
We'll do more new products next week.
Yeah. All right, next up. Tony D is back, and he's broadcasting. So Tony D videos this week, Raspberry Pi Cat Laser, part 4, the Raspberry Pi quick look at Tor hidden services, and the Circuit Playground NeoPixels and Bluetooth Low Energy. Those are videos that are all out right now. Go to our YouTube channel and watch them. Next up, pseudo random. Yep, next up, pseudo random. I'm gonna keep moving along here. We have a new one that we just did last night, and this was with Matthew Bergardi and all the folks that he's worked with, Kim and Adian from the Show and Tell is an intern at
Dude, everyone's hanging out.
This is cool.
This is cool kids.
Yeah, and so this is new. This is why we want to do pseudo random. This is people that are doing interesting things that normally maybe there wouldn't be a video series about this yet. So we have a couple clips from the show. These are music videos with soft robotics.
They're squishy.
so those are, and this was one of my favorite Cinerenums, and we also have one more music video from it. Okay.
It's coming to get you, but very slowly.
Yeah, well, I mean, different versions of those robots are going to be moving things large, crawling inside us, fixing us. So it's cool. It's
basically
very emerging.
The hydraulic robots, the power per weight, the strength per weight is way higher than other types of robotics. Like they're like air works great.
Yeah.
Fluid mechanics.
So watch it. It's on our YouTube channel and more. Okay, mailbag. We get letters and tweets and more from all of you. And occasionally, we also get stuff in the mail. And this one was a little weird. We received a letter from the government. And normally this is pretty scary because it's, we've had our run-ins in life with legal paperwork. This one was a little scary because it came from the White House, and I have a photo of it here. This is what it was, and it was a little scary because it's like, oh no, what do we do now?
I was scared. You were scared. We
Yeah,
were
I was
scared.
like, oh, no.
And then after about like 30 minutes, we're like, well, maybe we should open it.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 30 seconds. But it felt like 30 minutes.
Turns out, we have it here. Congratulations, Lady Ada. You got a letter from the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, and this is really signed. I took a photo of it, and this is what it says. Dear Lamore, congratulations on being selected as a White House Champion of Change. Thank you for the work you do every day. From the earliest days of our founding, our nation has been shaped by ordinary people who have dared to dream and use their unique skills to do extraordinary things. Americans like you help carry this tradition forward by reaching for new ideas that will help our country win the future. You and your fellow champions embody the change you want to see in the world. Together we will out-innovate, out-educate, and outbuild the rest of the world to keep our country strong. Congratulations again. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Barack Obama. And this is the embossed paper, and just to give you a little overhead shot here, because I'm like, I wonder if it was a stamp or not. Nope. You can see it's bleeds through. It's a real thing. So
I hope they have an axi draw.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But this is neat, and congratulations, Lady Ada. I know things are going to be different no matter what in November. I think this was a good thing that they did and that you did.
Yay!
So,
I was not expecting that. So that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I don't think they had our apartment address.
I don't know how they knew where we
lived.
That's
I guess they're the gov.
I guess
they could figure out stuff like that.
This is what they know.
Yeah. Okay. So that was fun. Next up. Okay.
So the physical mailbag.
Yeah, I have some open hardware news. I'm using new open source hardware logos. Speaking of the Champion of Change Award, so this was an award that you received because of the things that Adafruit's doing as a cause in addition to being a company, good cause, good business. And we have so many different schedules with the team here, and it's always hard to get everyone together. So we decided, why don't we just try to take a photo of as many people that are here every like 3 months or so. So this is hot off the press. You haven't seen this yet. Was the photo up here in Fab. This is your company, Lady Ada. This isn't all the people at Adafruit. In fact, a lot of them aren't in the photo, but a lot of them are. We have some.
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, we have some of the.
A lot of remote folks made it to this one.
Yeah. So this is Adafruit, and this is us in our manufacturing facility here. So that's what Adafruit looks like right now.
Yeah, I like how Julio was just like, I'm sitting next to you. Me and Julio and Nick Normal are like.
Yeah.
He just was like, I want to sit next to Lady Ada.
Looking pretty good.
And you're hiding in the corner back there. Hey.
I'm hiding in the corner.
You're always hiding.
All the time.
I know. It's because of the parents thing. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, the other thing, this isn't open source hardware news, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So I was reading the AARL annual report. You're a member of the AARL. This is the amateur radio folks.
Yeah.
And membership's going up. 2015, they had a growth of 2.94%.
So this is interesting. So between 2013 and 2014, they had, do the math here, 3,400 new people. Here's the thing, that the membership never expires, so it's going to grow unless people die.
Yeah.
But then the next year they had 5,000. So it did go up a little bit more. So the rate of growth is increasing. There's more people. Sorry, the rate of people signing up is increasing. I mean, I know that in the hacker scene, definitely more people are getting their ham radio license.
Yeah.
Like we know 4 or 5 people that just got their ham radio license this year. So that's that's not a lot of people, 4 or 5 people, but you do that in a couple communities, and before you know it, you have 5,000.
So I think that's an interesting sign. We waited for a bit to do some of our stuff with radio. You have a expert.
Oh, actually, is this ARL membership or is this licensing?
It's the membership, but they had some stats which it looks like they're increasing too.
Okay.
Anyways, it's we linked to it on the blog, and
I'm
if
a
you're
member.
interested, if you're interested in some of the stats on these things, this is a good place to look. Okay. Next up, help wanted, Adafruit Jobs Board. Adafruit.com/jobs. On the Adafruit Jobs Board, we look at everyone before it publishes.
Do we let spammers in?
No, we don't let spammers.
What about recruiters?
No, don't.
What about like fake job things that are fake?
Nope.
No fake?
Nope.
All real?
Yeah, and we want to have a safe place for people to post their skills and also for companies to post that they're looking for jobs. Here's one. These folks are looking for a software coder for Particle Photon. This is from Jeff. My partner and I are looking for someone to help us with our business. For now, we need someone to write code, simple software that interacts with the LED light board being run by a particle photon. So it's really smart of them to post in the Adafruit Jobs Board because we sell
particle photons,
the particle photons.
Yeah.
So that is on the job board, adafruit.com/jobs. If you know someone, or if you're that someone who has those skills, check it out.
Good idea.
Okay, Lady Ada, we have a bunch of learning guides this week. What are some
of
the
learning guides? We do have a lot of learning
Yeah.
guides this week. That is one thing that we have. We have a lot of learning guides.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got the Mindfulness Clock of Doom. That's by Phil B. and Noah and Pedro. Noah and Pedro did the lovely enclosure. Phil B. Basically did the code that displays the number of minutes you have left to live. Oh my God. So that's this week's 3D Hangouts. Will show out 3D Thursday. We'll show that video shortly, but it's just a pro trinket. We've got these lovely fritzing diagrams now, of course. Marco Schwartz did a building an ESP mobile robot. Mm-hmm. So this one is interesting because it is itself, you run like a little web server, and so you can connect in and then control the robot over a web interface, and we use our little Red Rover control as a Red Rover enclosure. I finally finished up the Adafruit stepper and DC motor wing, feather wing tutorial. We had code and everything. I just wanted to get all the diagrams and images up, and we were getting through and doing that. We have a 4 tutorial series from Rick L. from the support forums, and he's actually a Windows .NET and a Windows IoT developer, and so he actually wrote up how you can get started with Windows IoT development on a Raspberry Pi 3, like the Pi 2 and Pi 3, both support Windows IoT. This is an interesting new technology, like Microsoft is investing in the Raspberry Pi. So, if you are interested in learning how to do it, there's a really great set of guides, and even I was reading them, like, okay, this is pretty easy. How to manage your IoT device, and how to have it with a display or how to have it without a display. how to install the software, how to download the image, like all of the things. There's a little bit of a setup, and so he shows you step by step how to do it. It's an excellent guide if you are interested in Windows IoT. There's a lot of excitement when it came out for Raspberry Pi, and I think it's still taking time for people to get used to how to use it. And then today we also have a really cool Circuit Playground and Bluetooth Low Energy tutorial showing how to use the PinIO guide with Circuit Playground and Bluetooth to create a Bluetooth controlled device. So you can do it from your phone, you can make the Circuit Playground do things.
Learn.adafruit.com. Over 1,000 tutorials.
It's like 1,050 by now, 1,030, something crazy.
We got a bunch of tutorials. Okay. So that was Learn Guides. Okay. Next up, time travel. Time travel is going to be fun this week because it's a little different. We're going to take a look back.
Are you going to go to the future?
In the world of hackers, of artists, engineers, and then sometimes there's anniversaries, big ones, of science fiction. And now I didn't want to play the Star Trek song because I didn't know. I was going to do that, but I was worried that we would get the content ID thing.
Why don't you just sing it?
I was starting to. Anyways, as a lot of folks noticed, we went to the Star Trek Starfleet Academy experience at the Intrepid. And they were like, why are you going there? Well, it's 50th anniversary. And I kind of made you stand next to a lot of things. I took photos of you. And
it was consensual.
While we were there, I was like, finally. And they had all these great posters and
they had like props and costumes.
From the place. And this was the Engineering Hall of Fame. So you had Miles O'Brien, you had Mr. Scott, you had Charles Tucker, you had Charlie Forge, and LaForge. So
you're one of your favorite characters.
One of my favorite characters.
Have you replaced me with LaForge?
Of all time? No, you'd work together.
Okay.
But LaForge, and I wrote an article, a brief article, but I wrote it on our site, and it's about LaForge. And
you love this man.
The character is great, and I'm pretty sure LeVar Burton's pretty good too. So one of the things, because we always get asked, like, oh, who's your Trekkie, your Trekker, what's your favorite character? And I'll tell you why it's Geordi LaForge. You and I, we talked about this.
You used to be Picard, but not so much.
No, Picard is, if you have to be specific.
Oh, your favorite,
management styles.
Okay, you just use him for
more
management
Picard
style,
than Kirk. Kirk will just like.
Kirk is not going to HR nightmare.
Yeah, you don't want.
Seriously.
You don't want Kirk beaming down your planet.
Nope.
With Geordi, the cool thing about Geordi is a few things. Number one, so it's set in the future. And in the future, we still haven't solved every single thing with technology. So he was born blind, and he has a prosthetic that allows him to see. It's called Visor, and he's basically wearing a tricorder. He can see all parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. So obviously, I
would love that. That'd like an eye oscilloscope. That'd be great.
Turning something that normally sounds like a disability into like a superpower. Like, ooh, I want that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. So that's one thing about Geordi that's really neat, and it always saves the day. He's always like, hey, look, the warp core is about to blow up. I can see it. So that's kind of cool. The other thing that, I think the most special thing about Geordi, in addition to being an engineer, in addition to getting promoted from within, helmsman to, lieutenant.
Wow, you really know your history.
I know a lot of stuff about Geordi. And in addition to all of that, the thing that is most interesting is he and Data, who's an android, artificial intelligence, are best friends. And that's kind of cool because it could have went another way. Could have had like Worf, who's very into combat, or Riker, who's into hanging out at 10 Forward and
making
also
love.
kind of also an HR nightmare. But the thing about Geordi is he is the bridge between humanity and what this new intelligence, this thing that we made. So Data, if you think about Star Trek, imagine if it's real. If that's a whole new species that's going to start a whole group of androids that might be what we are eventually, who's going to be the first contact, the first person? And it's Geordi. He understands about physics, he's an engineer, but he's also a human. So unlike Star Trek, the first series, where the engineer, the scientist was Spock and it was very cold and unemotional, Geordi has emotions, and he's always... he's
got feelings.
He's got feelings. And he also...
He wants to be an HR nightmare.
No, and he was also Data's best friend.
Yeah.
And he didn't look at Data as just parts. He looked at it the sum, and they were friends. Now
you said like not robot slave, but robot friend. Because Data could have been a slave. They could be like, Data, you never have to sleep. Why don't you just sit in front of the computer and just type in numbers?
And we have a poster that says "Make robot friend, not robot enemy." And if you think about it, like the Federation could turn Data into like a war thing or whatever. But
Sure.
but what's neat is like the humanity that this character brought into one of the first Android versions of us. I thought was neat. So we had a post, and I drew a picture of Jordy.
And you said they're also good friends in real life.
Well,
Did
this
Jack
is the crazy part of the story.
Yeah.
So-
Sorry, did I ruin it?
No,
Okay.
but LeVar
Sorry.
Burton, his best man in his real life wedding was Brent Spiner, who played Data, and also the actors who played Worf and Riker were in his wedding. So the neat thing is like LeVar Burton also, Reading Rainbow, longest running PBS series
Okay.
for kids.
Yeah.
Okay, also is in Roots. Like he's had such a career anyways.
Yeah.
And then he has Geordi, which is probably one of the best examples. If someone, because we're all kind of science fiction fans here. Oh, who would you want to have work at Adafruit from the Star Trek
Totally,
universe?
Geordi.
It'd be Geordi.
Worf would just break shit.
Yeah.
He'd just be like, all right,
Well,
pick a place not working, smash.
If you're going to like a tough club in the city, you want to bring Worf with you.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, but anyways,
Big guy.
so Geordi, so
Okay.
y'all can debate in the comments about who's your favorite Star Trek character, but I would encourage you to think about who do you want to work with every day.
It's not the boy. The boy.
Out of the nerds in Star Trek, so you've got Spock, you've got maybe Tuvok, you've got Geordi, you've got Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
If you think about like who are the kind of the ones that that are like geek out on all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Those are some of the characters that I think come up often. But
Okay. Well,
anyway.
it's a lovely drawing. Can we see the drawing again?
Oh yeah, I drew this on an iPad Pro. Not bad. I think I use Adobe Sketch. Okay. Anyways, so that is our Star Trek segment for the week. This is why we went to that thing. This is why I was excited to see all these photos. They had an engineering section, and anyways, that's kind of cool. All right. So speaking of engineering, here are some videos from our Made in New York manufacturing series where we just have a weird camera, take some photos or video of stuff we do around here. Okay,
Zoop,
so
zoop, zoop.
that's what it's like to be on our stenciler.
No.
And then another video that we have, this is Bright Testers. Okay. So
That's fun.
Yeah. I do have one follow-up, and I put this in my article about Star Trek.
Yeah.
I do think so. If you built something that constantly failed, that weaponized itself, that took over all of Adafruit, I'd say, hey, like maybe we should rethink this thing. So the holodeck, always causing problems.
I
It's
know.
always it's coming alive. It's taking over things. It's tricking you. The holodeck is.
Is it ever like a good thing?
Well, I think we only see the bad because it's episodes, but like surely future OSHA has all sorts of things about the
Holodeck.
holodeck. It's like oh, now the safety protocols are off. Now you can really get shot. It's like, why is this happening?
Why would Oh, I'm stuck. I can't leave.
Yeah. Oh, now it
There's a
can-
clone of me.
Now it can think, and now it wants to go somewhere else. Holodeck now runs the whole show. Yeah. Anyways, gotta be careful at holodeck.
Whoever programmed the holodeck should have really
Well,
got
it
some
is
code
kind of Jerry's
auditing.
responsibility. He's like, oh, the holodeck is
Oh, yeah.
trying to take over again. Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
So we have some other articles on the site. This is kind of neat. I don't know if you saw this one. The team at Adafruit went to the Brooklyn Drone Store. There's a store in Brooklyn. Yeah,
they
this
went
is it. They
there.
went there. They took photos. And this is kind of neat. Here's what I like about the store. And I'll show. Here's
Okay, so there's drones.
here's the outside. Brooklyn Drones. You can look at it online.
That's a
Brooklyn
pretty
Drones.
cool looking store.
It's a cool store. But here's what I really like about it. They did something really smart. They have the drones, Apple Store style on these things where you can see them, and they have, the cases. But one of the neat things, look at the photos on the wall. These are photos taken by a drone. This is really neat because drones could be very artistic. And I think there's probably some screens around here that shows footage. That's a neat idea because the camera that you have with the drone is just as important as the drone now. I think it's like the shift to it being drone photography. I think we had a little tiny hand in that because we did the dronies. So showing the stuff. Anyways, it's a good article if you want to see what a drone.
That is a lovely story. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll walk by there one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people doing it. It's not just because it's like RC fun. It is actually for film students, people doing video and art.
Yeah.
Very, very common. A lot of art students.
Yep. Okay. All right. Next up, 3D printing. I got some 3D printing videos later. The first one, TikTok. We're all gonna die. Here's the death clock.
In this project, we're making a countdown clock using a 7-segment LED display, an RTC module, and an Adafruit Pro Trinket microcontroller. A simple 3D printed enclosure will house all of the electronics and sits nicely on a desk or mounted on a wall. To assemble the display, align the dots on the backpack with the ones on the PCB and carefully insert the pins. Pieces of tape can hold the two parts together while soldering. Just make sure the displays are flush with the PCB. We recommend using a pan vise to hold the PCB in place while soldering all of the pins to the backpack. Then you can remove the excess with a pair of snips. 4 connections are chained between the circuit, plus an extra wire for the Pro Trinket and RTC module. A great way to easily chain these connections is to use a piece of flexible PCB. You can cut out a small strip using scissors and save the rest of the PCB for future projects. Check out our guide on the Adafruit Learning System for a circuit diagram and demo code for setting up the countdown date. You can type in your desired date in the Arduino sketch. The RTC breakout uses a 12mm coin cell battery to keep track of the time. To power the rest of the circuit, we'll use a micro USB cable connected to a 5V power supply. You can 3D print the faceplate or optionally cut it out of a different material. We cut ours out of acrylic, and the faceplate press fits over the display, so it's easy to swap out the design for any other theme. So we set this up as a clock of doom, which gives us a grim reminder of the time that we have left. And although it's kind of morbid, it does give us perspective, makes us aware of the passage of time and how precious it actually is. But depending on what you want to do with this, it's a great project for making a countdown clock. So whether it's for a holiday, a birthday, a special event, or upcoming trip, this is a novel way to keep track of it.
Okay, so that's a neat clock because you'll think about how precious each moment is.
As it's ticking down, you're dying. It's really goth.
Yeah.
But it's a good project for other things. It doesn't have to be a death clock. It can be a countdown to Comic-Con, and you can change the outline to be like your favorite character, or it could be a countdown to Halloween, or a countdown to Burning Man, or a countdown to Christmas,
Heat death of the universe.
or the heat death of the universe, or Halley's Comet.
I guess that's the same as the death clock. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have another one, the CNC Meld project, and then we have a time lapse after that. So let's do this. time lapse. Okay, and don't forget tomorrow is 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. They'll be doing layer by layer and many of the videos and more that you've seen.
That's a cool
here
time
tonight.
lapse. Those horses are neat.
Yes. Okay, next up. We've been on a fritzing roll, Lady Ada, so I thought maybe you could quickly tell us what are these fritzing things that you're doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? I know, we have quite a few. So we, Phil B, like a month ago, modified, updated the Eagle to Fritzing tool that was written by Fritzing, the organization, but as far as we can tell, nobody has got it to do what it's supposed to do, and we got it to do what it's supposed to do, which is make these really, really beautiful, perfect silkscreen, perfect component placement Fritzing devices. And so what used to be like an 8-hour process per part is now a 20 to 30 minute, sometimes 40 minute for a very complicated board, but much, much easier than it used to be. And so we can actually crank out boards as complicated as like that HDMI driver all the way to the right. I only have to make the drawing for the 40-pin connector, and then it takes all those subparts and it places them. So you draw the one HDMI connector, and then you can reuse that part over and over again. And so I've been cranking through a whole bunch, trying to get pretty much everything we have. So these are 2 of our HDMI TFP401 breakouts to 40-pin TFTs. We got the 2 JST breakouts, one with switch, one without, for like light-poly batteries. The LM4040 precision voltage regulator. The Bluefruit, the Feather M0 Bluefruit, the Feather Proto M0 and 32U4. At the bottom is the Wicked Feather. That's K-Town did that one. Thanks, K-Town. The Ethernet Featherwing that we came out with about a week ago, and then right underneath me is the Feather Doubler. Okay. So that has internal wiring and everything, so it actually works like a breadboard, which is really cool.
Right. What else?
And then Andy helped out making some as well. So we've got the 4 coin cell holders, some with switches, some without, 20 millimeter and 12 millimeter. The Max 9744 20 watt Class D amplifier, the LoRa and the RFM breakout boards on the bottom there, so you can make your own radios. That was by request.
And then we got another.
I did more.
2 more batches.
As I write tutorials, I also generate, because I'm doing a project with GPS.
The Bluefruit one. That's nice.
Yeah, well, because I got the original art and imported, so it's perfect because it's vector art. Whatever. The other things like the GPS, I had to draw, but the Bluefruit I could borrow the vector art for the sticker. So the Bluefruit Easy Link, the GPS Adalogger Shield, the joystick breakout, the USB isolator underneath, and then the Ultimate GPS. I redrew it. We already had one, but this one is a little bit more nicer. Also, where the PCB layout is perfect, so you can actually make PCBs with our parts, and it'll show the outline and where it will be, and then the pins, and all the schematic is right. So it's we're redoing some of the old ones to make all of them be standard. And then of course these SWD Cortex breakouts, and then finally
this one.
a couple more. We made I think this capacitive 2.8 inch TFT breakout, the NeoPixel breadboardable edition, the Charlie Plex driver 1.44 inch TFT, little mini TFT, and then power boost shield all the way to the left. And basically this means that if you're doing tutorials or projects or writing a book or doing courseware or presentations and you're using Adafruit stuff, you'll now have beautiful vectorized drawings that you can use to show hookup guides, because it makes it a lot easier if you're writing tutorials, whether or not you're writing tutorials on Instructable or Hackster or on Imager or whatever, wherever you are, if you're sharing how to build stuff, it's a lot easier, especially because wiring is complicated. Drawing it on fritzing is a lot easier than trying to take a really good photo of your breadboarding, because the wires always get very messy. It's hard to see what's hooked up, but with these, they're very nice. If you have requests, put them in the fritzing GitHub. We don't promise we'll get to them, but they will.
We'll get there eventually.
They'll get there faster than if you didn't have an issue.
Okay, well next up, because we didn't have any products this week, I wanted to show a couple of things because I get asked a lot about the cameras and equipment and things we use, and a lot of it is knowing what we're not going to use.
Okay.
So a couple things came in the mail that I had ordered. I'll go to the overhead. This is a little weird. It's kind of cool. So this is, if you go to our YouTube channel today, you can see this is what I use to make the 360 video. And this is the easiest way I found to upload a decent resolution.
So there's two lenses.
Yeah,
they're like spherical lenses.
Yeah, and this is a lightning connector, and then you plug it into your. It has to be an iPhone 6, and then once you do that, you can go to the app, and here's the app, and this gives you. I'll show it on the screen in the best way I can. It's a little hard, but anyways, so this is the lenses, and you can see. This is the.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whee! 360.
Yeah, so it's called Insta360. And I like it. It's an easier way to do 360 videos, and I was able to see what was going on the screen. So I have the Theta from Ricoh, and you can't see really what's on the screen. You can use a phone, and it has to do this Wi-Fi thing. This actually works out better. It's plugged in, has battery and status and more, and you can also instantly upload to something like YouTube. Now, the cool thing about this is that I really think they did an excellent job is the packaging, and I'll show this up here. The packaging comes with this like
Google Cardboard
Cardboard-like thing, yeah. And
so this is the box it came in.
This is the box that came in, and
they just pop out this thing here.
Yeah,
and you put in the lenses, and now it's a 3D viewer.
And what's neat about it is once you upload the video to YouTube, you can do things like here you go. I'll put this in here. So you put your YouTube video in cardboard mode, and you can see how it splits it up for the lenses. And when you move it around, it knows. So this is the interview that I did with our team here. And you're not going to be able to see this over the overhead or anything, but this just gives you an idea. This is where, I'll try to get it like that, yeah. This is where you'd be able to do things like see, and when you look around, it's really neat. Like I'm actually looking in Fab right now, and I'm looking at the pick and place machine.
You're like 50 feet over there, but you're over here.
Yeah, and it.
Think of how much time you save by not having to walk over there.
Yeah, and I could see Vance and Noah, and in the video, they're talking about some of their favorite things built. So this is kind of neat. As far as a 360 camera, like again, some people complain that the 360 stuff isn't high resolution enough yet. It'll get there.
This is much better.
It's much better.
Look,
than
the first digital camera was like 640 by 480.
Yeah. So this is called the Insta360. I bought it. We don't get anything for free like that. And it's called the Insta360 Nano. And this is straight out of Shenzhen. It says it right on there. And this is, I believe, most of the site is in Chinese.
Shenzhen Arashi Vision.
Yeah. And
That's
so
cool.
there's some stuff that you might have to use a translation. Oh, and it also has storage, so I have a 64 gigabyte card in here. So,
Wait, can you see the thing on the back? No, the FCC on the back.
So, okay. And then next up, this just came in today, and this is the Mevo. And Mevo is a 4K camera that allows you to use an app with it. And I don't know if I'll be able to show how this works. Probably not, but we'll see. So this uses an app. And what it does is it allows you to do live viewing, much like I'm using Wirecast right now to do this live show. I'm not doing, I don't do anything in post. One of the things that's kind of neat about the Mevo, let me see if I can do anything with this here. I could probably show it on the overhead if it works out.
Yeah, but I thought I'd hold it up so you could see the LEDs.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this is going to be okay. So I'm going to go to the overhead, and then I'm going to go to this. I'm going to show you what's on my phone. So this is what the camera's seeing, and what's neat about this is you have different views on how this will work out. So this is the frame that it is, and let me get out of here. If we were to back up, it does face recognition too. So see how it's doing face, and it's jumping from, jumping. So this, if it was broadcasting live, it would automatically switch between these things. When I'm talking, it would zoom in on me, and then when you're talking, it would zoom in on you.
Hey, and if I move
See how
around,
it's following you around? Yeah.
it's automatic.
Yeah, so this is it's a neat idea where you take the high resolution that's 4K, and then you're having the camera with some smart. So it streams live on Facebook and also live stream, and it also can save to your...
What's interesting is it's detecting that you're talking, and it's giving you like
hello,
the
hello,
attention.
hello. Yeah, now you should talk.
Hello, hello, hello. And then when I do stuff, when I move, it zooms over to me, and it's like, hey, you're doing stuff because you're like drumming or like singing or dancing or whatever.
I want to drum and sing and dance.
Hey, well, the packaging had like a drummer on it.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. And we'll see. I'll try it out. It's part of my job to see if there's ways to continue to do all this broadcasting. We don't have a camera crew. We don't have a group of folks who do these videos with us. It's just you and I. It's been like that for a while.
Yeah, there's no camera crew.
Anyways, so that's it uses all the power of a phone, which is kind of cool. And they're a Brooklyn-based company.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Neat.
Yep, they tweeted back to us.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So,
Designed in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Guess where it was assembled.
Looks like a mini Echo.
Yeah, it does have that LED.
Alexa, do make me look beautiful. Okay.
Don't say that because somebody's gonna be listening and their echo is gonna.
Set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay. So let's answer some questions later.
Yeah, let's do questions.
Yeah, and by the way, a little reminder: if you have questions you want us to answer for the marketing thing that we're going to do later in the week, like how to market your electronic product, you can ask them now, and we will either answer them now and also probably repeat them later. So ask your questions, folks.
Whoa, this is cool. This is some serious hardware.
Yeah. Someone said, can't wait for 4K Ask an Engineer. Yeah, we can technically do Ask an Engineer in 4K right now. The issue is the size of the files gets a little crazy and the bandwidth gets a little crazy, so we're going to slowly over time, since we broadcast to 3 networks right now, figure out if we can do 4K, because having 3 different encodings is problematic, but yeah, we want to do that.
Yeah, look, the future is 4K.
Yeah, okay. Next up, have you ever seen the PXL 2000 black and white camcorder that records the audio tape? Yes. Oh, I think he was talking to someone else. Anyways.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Someone's Echo that worked. Okay. Echo, cancel timer.
Echo, play The Cure.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up, will you be making a 40-pin permaproto for Raspberry Pis?
I don't know because they're so big. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah. What programming languages has everything written in?
Assembler,
Okay.
in the end.
Next, I'm thinking of manufacturing my Team Valor badge that I showed on Show and Tell a few weeks ago. Do you have any suggestions for material type? I was thinking of acrylic with SMD LEDs behind it.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean,
Okay.
there you can get acrylic that is very good at diffusing light. It's actually a special type of acrylic. It's like the ones that you make signs out of. So that would be a good bet. And edge lighting, that you can do edge lighting with it too.
Okay. I'll answer this one. Are we going to Burning Man this year? Nope. No reason, just we're super busy. Next up, you mentioned that the Epilogue printer was one of the first Adafruit purchases. Why did you need it, and what did you build with it? You bought it.
It's of all the tools. So there wasn't really hobbyist 3D printers at the time. Otherwise, maybe a 3D printer would have been something we purchased. But a laser cutter is one of the most valuable and flexible tools. Like you can do a lot with a laser cutter. And I was doing kits, and Phil and I were going to do like lasering the back of laptops, and for $100 a piece, and maybe use that to help pay for it. It was like $15,000. Now you can get a Zing for like 6 or 8K or something.
Yeah.
But it is still, in my opinion, the most flexible of maker tools.
Yeah, so we bought an Epilogue laser, and
You can
we
do
were
almost
doing
anything.
laser etching on top of laptops, and we would charge $100 cash, and that actually paid for groceries. We
And
were
the
super
laser.
broke. Yeah, and it paid for the laser. Yeah. Okay. Next up, I just set up a blog and it's hosted on my chip computer. Can I show it off in the show and tell? Yeah, next week, just come on the show and tell. Next up, do we do factory tours? No, but we have 3D videos.
You have a 3D video, you just get
Yeah.
the cardboard. Look
Yeah,
around.
our agreement with the folks who own the building is we wouldn't be doing factory tours. Next up, marketing question. What about patents? What if you have a great idea you want open source is covered by someone else's patent? Well, here's a suggestion. Probably wouldn't worry about doing an open source design that you're publishing and it violating a patent, because
Yeah, just doing the project itself
That's
is
okay.
not a violation.
Yeah.
It's if you're selling it, but just showing how to build something or documenting a personal project, that would
Yeah.
be under like a research and development exemption. I
Yeah.
mean, you can read patent law and it goes on and on and on. It's only if you're like selling it or marketing it or
Yeah.
basically commercializing
I mean,
it.
you probably could get away with making anything that has a patent. and
Yes,
showing
anyone
how to
can.
build
Yeah,
it.
of course. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to. If you're going to make the next generation, you have to be able to make something that could be described by somebody else's patent.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And then I guess there was a follow-up. How do you know if there's a patent that that covers what you've already, that someone else has already patented your idea?
They'll sue you.
Well, they might. The other thing is, in the maker world, a lot of things, I think people get hung up on worrying about patents. If you're just doing electronics and you're going to sell it on Tindy or it's an electronic kit, it's probably fine.
Yeah, the only way to really know is to hire a lawyer, because most
Yeah.
people cannot actually read patents. You think you can read a patent, it's much more complicated than most people can handle, and so you would actually hire a firm to do a patent search, which would
Yeah.
be probably like, at least $5,000 to $10,000. So it's like, to do the research, it's
Yeah.
in and of itself is quite expensive. So you can do a little bit, but for the most part, you kind of do what you do, and then if you are sure that it's patented, you would change your design before you commercialized it.
This isn't, there's always going to be exceptions, but generally speaking, in the maker world, the electronic world that we're in, patents don't come up that often. It's putting a component on a circuit board.
Yeah.
That's not really
Like
something.
op amps and
Yeah.
analog circuitry, it's like there's not a lot of patents going on there. A lot of them,
Yeah.
you can also look at expired patents and then use that.
Yeah, I'll give you a good example because we've been talking about like maker business stuff for a while. So what's more likely, and and specifically what has happened in the maker world? What has been the biggest issues? Copyright, trademark, or patent? Well,
Trademark by
trademark,
far.
and
By
it's
far,
been,
by far.
Yeah, trademark, and specifically, Arduino didn't have the worldwide trademark for Arduino.
And they're not the only one. There's other trademark
Yeah.
disputes that are not even public.
Yeah, and speaking as the person who works with the Adafruit lawyers, trademarks come up the most. People try to pretend they're Adafruit, and we have a trademark worldwide, so we can say, please stop doing that. And
It's
how
not even that easy to patent hardware. I
Yeah.
mean, you can patent systems and stuff. But like people designing like a music reactive
Yeah.
synthesizer thing.
Someone actually asked kind of the question I was going over. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
have any issues with part manufacturers over copyright, trademark, or patent issues? So, and then here's the other one that comes up. So copyright, a lot of people, unfortunately, have taken our code, taken our names off of it, and said it's their code. Or they've used it and they haven't respected the open source license. They've taken our photos.
That's like everybody.
Yeah.
Like almost nobody is.
They've taken our photos
Yeah.
and put their watermark on top of it.
Yeah.
So the most common things are copyrights and trademarks. Patents, we haven't seen the maker world hit with a huge patent, but most of the time,
Only 3D printing, but that's a very
but
different
it was
industry.
all, it was all like gearing up for something, and so
Yeah.
we haven't seen that. We haven't heard about a maker company either suing or being sued because of a patent yet. Haven't.
I haven't either,
Yeah.
but most maker companies are not working on extremely
Yeah.
high-tech stuff, and also they're not a threat to, to bring a lawsuit is also very expensive. So
Yeah.
it's like you have to be a threat.
Okay. Next up, how about a feather doubler ×2, able to hold 4 feather wings horizontally? Would you build one of those?
Maybe you could probably just take my design, clone it, and send it to Osh Park. I mean, it's no matter how many triplers or doublers, will always be somebody who wants
Done
more.
a lot with the AVR libc plus make for bare metal AVR. What would be the equivalent for the SAM-D21?
ASF, which comes with, it's like the only way to do lowish level. It's not even that low level, but any lower and you kind of want to kill yourself. It handles all the clocking for you and all the peripherals because you have to like wait. You have to do a lot of bus contention management, waiting for peripherals to finish.
Yeah.
So if you use ASF, it kind of does it all for you. And I've used it. It's quite easy. In fact, Arduino basically takes ASF and wrappers it. So it was designed after, I I think it was done after the Arduino IDE and like the programming kind of architecture came about, and so it's quite easy to use. It's like you analog read basically, and like set up Circom and read write.
Yeah.
I've done some low level code with it, and ASF is fairly easy to
You were
use.
just talking about it tonight.
I was, and I've done stuff with it, and it's portable between all the different platforms.
Yeah. Okay. Another one I can answer this. And will we ever make a Pi Girl case? No. We actually thought about this and
Cannot.
Well, we
Maybe.
Maybe we could. The thing is, it's shaped like a Game Boy, and Nintendo probably wouldn't like that. And so
They definitely have a design patent on that,
well, yeah, it's on.
and or a trademark or whatever.
We could probably, because you go to any like store, there's things that look like a Game Boy, but we decided not to do that because we think that's Nintendo's, and like doing a 3D model of it and someone prints it on their own, that seems
That's
to
more
be fine.
fun.
And also like Nintendo doesn't seem to care about things like that. So we decided like that's not the business we want to be in anyways.
Yeah.
So it does kind of get you interested in going to a place where you could 3D print something, where you could send the files off and they'll 3D print
And you
it
get custom
for you.
colors,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's like, well,
3D
you know,
hubs, I
what
think,
color
is
you want.
one.
Yeah,
Your
3D
local area
hubs
has
or-
a 3D printer.
And there's services, maker
Yeah.
spaces.
Okay, how do you make a tester for a gas sensor?
The gas sensors are sensitive to alcohol, so we have alcohol wipes, and you hold it 6 inches above or 12 inches above the sensor, and it will slightly detect the alcohol.
Okay, this one I'll answer even more, and so will you for
Yeah.
our marketing one for later in the week. But here's one from Facebook. What advice do you have for someone trying to enter in the maker market? Well, I'll start. I'd say make sure that in addition to the product that you're making, make sure you have a good cause. Because that is the thing that'll help you make a lot of decisions, the things that you want to do and don't want to do. So we're an educational company. It helps us focus on what we want to do. So there's a learning component of what we do. We typically don't do things unless we can do a guide and a video and more.
Yeah.
We want to teach and share, especially young people. So in addition to having a business idea, have a good cause. What would you say for
Yeah,
advice getting
absolutely.
into the maker market?
Documentation
Documentation is key.
and projects showing off what you can do with it. I see a lot of people who they make a breakup order a sensor and they just kind of toss it out there, and then they're like, okay, everybody go to town. But unless there's code examples and documentation and clear step-by-step instructions, you're gonna miss a lot of people. This is a little bit why it's before Arduino, it was very hard to get into microcontrollers. You could do it, and people did it, and I did it, and other people did it, but it was much, much harder than it just plug in a USB cable and type into this window and press go. I mean, comparatively, it's gotten only easier and easier.
Okay, outside buying complete jumper cables, where do you get single pin connectors, headers for your for making your own cables?
Well, you could just break apart header.
Okay. And then also, what's the smallest maker board? Gem and Trinket, people mentioned those. Those are
Trinket's
probably,
pretty small.
Trinket's probably the smallest, best supported.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. Okay, Lydia, those are the questions.
Okay, they were answered.
Yeah, all right, let's give away something. It's trivia question time. What do you want to give away?
We're going to give away a Circuit Playground
That's right, Circuit Playground.
because we have a demo for the Circuit Playground called Com Badge.
Yeah,
So that when you tap it, it makes a little
yeah.
the little sound that you get when you touch your Com Badge on Star Trek. So it's thematic.
Yeah, okay, what are the rules?
Rules are if you've won something before, you can't win again. Only one winner per lifetime. You can enter in any of the chat channels. Whoever answers the question correctly according to this fellow right here is the winner of a single Circuit Playground. Don't cheat and
lots of
don't tell
pressure.
other people the answer. Let them guess so everyone has a chance to enter. Try to make it fair.
Yeah, okay, here's the question, ready?
Yes.
What was the name of the episode that Geordi LaForge first appeared on? What was the name of the episode? Who are we talking about? Just
This
the
man.
coolest character in Star Trek Next Generation.
When did
So,
this character first appear?
Yeah,
And sorry, the name of the episode.
yeah, the name of the episode. When Geordi LaForge first appeared.
Okay.
Name of the episode.
Okay, you're looking at all the chats.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the chats.
Okay.
Dude,
Come on, fans, big fans.
The answer is not 42. Congratulations, Bayer 5399. Encounter at Farpoint. Congratulations. You got it.
That's like your
And
favorite episode too.
It's it set the tone, set the stage.
Yeah.
We have it on Blu-ray. It's the only reason we bought a Blu-ray player. It's never played.
Pretty much.
It's played two things. It's played
Hackers.
and
Encounter at Fairpoint.
yeah, the first couple
I
episodes.
think that
They
Blu-ray.
remastered it. It was pretty beautiful.
Yeah. The alien
Okay.
color. thing, right?
Congratulations. Beer5399, email support@adafruit.com, and we will send you a Circuit Playground. It's PAD 3000. That helps the team. So congratulations, yay, you won.
You are a
Yeah.
Star Trek Next Generation fan.
Yeah, you're a super fan. Speaking of, don't forget the code Star Trek. We can only keep doing this if y'all buy something once in a while.
Or even as a star date.
No pressure.
How do you feel about that?
That's kind of nice. All right. I mean, you still won. I mean,
You can't win twice,
yeah.
really. We only have one
You-
Circuit Playground.
You really won.
Okay, for reals.
Yeah, for reals. Okay, so maybe I should I see all of you in 3D. So we'll see everybody next week. Show and tell, Ask an Engineer. This Friday night we've got the Maker to Market, powered by DigiKey, marketing episode. That'll be fun, because maybe we'll talk about some of the things that we've done in the past, and some of the marketing campaigns that go along with selling electronics for a living. It's hard business,
Yeah.
selling electronics. Okay, that's it, Lady Ada.
All right, thanks
That's
everybody.
everything. Don't
Exciting
forget
show.
code Star Trek. Here's a picture of a cat.
Meow. That's the holodeck.
We'll see
For the
everybody
cat.
next week. Thank you everyone at Adafruit, and thank you all the remote folks and more, and thank you community and audience and fans and presidents who send us letters in the mail. Thank you.
Okay.
Here's your moment of Zener.
Good night.